do you want to talk a little bit, Jamie, about your social life? Like, how's your social life with this kind of diet? Now it's been like 12 years. Probably you made like I even saw you go and meet Ted Carr. I'm sure like a few viewers here will know like Ted Carr, and I saw that he's been like your personal favorite mentor, I believe, for all these years. And I see that you met him the other day. But tell us a bit about your social life and also Ted Carr if you'd like to share.
Well, I actually created a raw vegan meetup here in Los Angeles, and Ted
Hmm.
Carr came to my meetup. Well, I actually planned this meetup specifically because he was coming to town.
Hmm.
I just recently learned about Ted Carr maybe 6 months ago, but I had joined his um, his online contentpreneur, business thing, and just in the past 6 months, I have grown so much, learned so
Hmm.
much, and he just inspired me. I was afraid to put content out and make videos and do lives and he's like just do it, just post, just
Yeah.
put something out there. And I started doing that and because people have been asking me for a really long time, even like at my job, they're like, you got to share this, asking me, for help. And I've been wanting to put all of my experience and all of my knowledge into something, so building online community, but then also really wanting in-person community. I built this meetup and it's been here for maybe since April or May
Hmm.
we started, and it's just been growing and growing. And we're spreading awareness, we're spreading the good news of raw foods. The only raw vegan restaurant in Los Angeles came to the last meetup at the beach
Oh,
and
wow.
for all their raw food goodies. Yeah, it was just so beautiful. Most people bring fruit. It usually turns into a fruit lug. We have a lot of fruitarians in the group, but we've built such a community of amazing, like-minded people. All the meetups are very high vibe. Everybody is so open and so loving and just promoting nonviolence and compassion. It's really beautiful. And I don't promote, being very strict on any specific raw vegan diet. I say that it's open to anybody, and all levels of raw veganism are welcome, beginners to pioneers, even people who are just curious about the lifestyle, and we
Hmm.
don't shame anybody for their life choices. And it's a safe place for people to come and be loved and accepted and learn about how raw foods can change their life. And the meetups have just been growing. People are loving it. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think Jillian Berry is coming to Los Angeles in February, and I would love to plan a meetup around her as well. And any of these, raw vegan inspirations, when they come, like, I would I reach out to them and, offer to plan a meetup around them. And I want to have guest speakers and maybe even build it into a retreat one day or a festival one day. I have no idea what it's going to grow into, but so far I've been surrounded by so many amazing souls. And everybody feels like they finally found a home in a tribe because, like you said, so many people don't have community. They don't know any other raw vegans. So to have this opportunity for us to come together with like-minded people is so special.
Yeah.
And especially in Los Angeles, because 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, when I first went raw, there were so many raw vegan restaurants in Los Angeles, and they've all closed down. There's only one raw food restaurant left in Los Angeles. So we're bringing the movement back.
Interesting. Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought like it's on the rise. I never thought that it deteriorated before, and then yeah, sure, you guys are bringing the movement back. But why do you think they all closed down?
It could have been COVID.
Hmm.
Maybe some things closed during COVID. But honestly, I think some of them closed even before that. I think it's very hard to keep them open. I think even the one raw vegan restaurant that's left, I think they're struggling
Hmm.
because the food does go bad very quickly and people are not rushing in. They're not rushing in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so many people struggle with a raw vegan diet and they go back to cooked foods. And I think there's a lot of vegan restaurants, but not all of them have raw vegan options. So another thing that I was thinking that would be really cool would be to connect with these the vegan restaurants and let them know about the raw vegan lifestyle and see if they would be willing to put some options on the menu,
Mm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. Like, you know, and I'm sure like your creative raw self will come up with like better ways to like, make it good for both the parties. Um, so it works out. But yeah, that's a very interesting one if somebody wants to like also work on it in their cities, wherever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a raw vegan cruise. There used to be a raw vegan retreats. Well, there's the fruit festivals. There are fruit festivals. But there used to be actual raw vegan festivals,
Mm.
like just with vendors and things. But there's not enough happening. But just really want to spread awareness on the lifestyle, and it's different from veganism because so many people are vegan, for the animals. And I'm I have a lot of friends that are vegan, cooked vegan, and they're posting events about vegan events, and there's pizza and vegan hamburgers and hot dogs. And we still show up at some of these vegan events, our meetup, because I don't want to put separation between vegans and raw vegans, regardless of the fact that they're not eating healthy, because we're all we all have the same goal in mind, and eventually I think that we could inspire some of these cooked vegans to go raw. So, we went to a Thanksgiving, a vegan Thanksgiving, and because our meetup was going to this Thanksgiving potluck, they created a raw vegan table for us to
Wow.
include us. So that was, like that's us coming together and taking the separation out of the vegan community. I don't want there to be separation between, vegan and raw vegan, or raw vegan and fruitarian. Like we
Mm.
have to stick together. If we're fighting with each other, we're going to weaken our power, weaken our strength. But if we really want to build a movement, we have to join forces and we have to come together to really create a real movement to change the world.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I definitely see your point, and I fully understand. I truly believe that we all must come together, regardless. Um, but do you think like if vegans and raw vegans were come together, then it's more so saying that, oh, we are together for no meat. But then if you were to see the reason why we have raw vegan, like raw, is because we think that having anything cooked is wrong. So that would like separate the vegans out. You see what I'm saying? Like the core of why the
I think you
separation.
just have to, yeah, but I think you just have to remove the ego and
Hmm.
stop judging that what somebody else is doing is wrong.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter what somebody else is eating.
Yeah.
Even if somebody's eating a steak in front of me, it's none of my business. It's not my business what they do with their body and with their life. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But I feel like people who are vegan, regardless of the fact that they are hurting their body with junk food and pizza and bread and gluten and all kinds of stuff, they are trying and they're on their own journey and they're on their own path, just like I was at one point. So it's not like any of us are more advanced or higher level or anything. It's just we're all at different stages. And we just have to remember that truth that even someone who's eating meat, that's just the stage that they're at in their journey. And we have to respect it, or at least I do. Yeah. I can't judge anybody anymore, you know?
Yeah.
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 And to love them no matter what, and
Yeah.
to know that even people who are vegan and they're eating cooked food, like there's nothing, it's their life, it's their body.
Yeah.
and to just love them, to just show everybody love and acceptance and just set an example and inspire them to maybe want to make a change in their life for the planet, for the animals, and for their own body.
Hmm.
And I think the thing with raw veganism is not to shame, take the shame out, take the guilt out. And Jillian does it really well. You know, she's like, I mean, if you like eating meat, hey, that's you, that's your thing. You know, I'm not going to say anything bad about it, right? And really promoting the benefits of eating raw as opposed to talking down about,
Hmm. Yeah.
and like meat is murder, and you're eating this and this and this and this and all these bad things are going to happen. No, like what if we just forget all that, don't focus on the negative, and
Hmm.
instead just talk about how amazing you're going to feel eating raw and as close to nature as possible. Your
Yeah.
vision's going to improve. Your energy's going to improve. Your sleep's going to improve. Your dreams are going to improve. Your life purpose is going to become more clear. You're going to get more clarity in your life. Things that are not aligned with you are going to fall away. These are the things that attract people to the raw vegan diet. And, when we shame people, that only just puts more separation and it actually pushes them further away from what we want, the ultimate goal. And that is to help people see how amazing this lifestyle is, and how they can truly step into their full potential.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah, well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Jamie, I was also curious. Obviously, you made this big of a transformation, and over the years, people who already know you would have been like, "Whoa, Jamie, you're going back in time. Like, you look fabulous now, and like, your friends and this and that. Like, what was their reaction? Like, when people like when you get together some random day, and then your topic comes up, and I'm sure it does. Like, some random day, people want to talk about you. Like, how do they go, like, what are their reactions, like you going back in time with your age?
When I first went raw, the notices were not as drastic because I was only
Of course.
26 when it happened. And I got a lot of scrutiny from my family and friends.
Hmm.
And, I actually, the first time I went raw, it created such a separation between me and my family. I actually didn't even speak to my family for a whole year because
Wow.
they just didn't agree with what I was doing. And as time went by, my family and friends started noticing, and I would fly back. I wouldn't see my family and friends until years later, and I would go back home to Florida to visit. And that's what really shocked people, is not
Hmm.
seeing me for a few years and then seeing me. And then the interesting thing is that, sorry if I offend, sorry if any of my family members see this, but me seeing them age and them
Hmm.
deteriorating, and like then it's really drastic,
Yeah.
right? It's really a drastic thing. Yeah, and I think too, when I was working at a yoga studio, and most everybody that was working there was in their early 20s, so many very, very young people. And I think that's what really shocked people too,
Hmm.
is that, I was working with people who were a lot younger than me. Actually, one of my really, really good friends is 22, and we just both have, like, because I have a youthful, fun spirit, and we just get along so well. And I actually probably might get along better with somebody younger than me than I would maybe even my own age, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I do get a lot of people. It's funny because especially when I tell people I have teenagers, when I have a 16-year-old son, they're shocked. Everybody wants to know my age. It's so funny. I actually really enjoy seeing the looks on their faces sometimes.
I'm sure the ego part of you must be like, ha 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 ha, and
Yeah.
but
Uh,
yeah. And so what did your parents say when you flew out after so many years?
My mom's proud of me. She's proud of me. Um, you know, what does she say? Um,
Would they ever
I
try
don't
it?
know. I mean, I went, well, the thing is I went, no, well, my mom did. She tried to go raw
Hmm.
once, and it was the healthiest I've ever seen her. She was juicing and she was doing coffee enemas too. She was, doing all kinds of stuff, fasting. And I never saw her with so much energy and so much vibrancy, and her skin was glowing and she was just gorgeous, um, and happy. She was just
Hmm.
so happy. But she's back, she's in the environment, in her same old environment with the same people, doing the same thing, cooking the same meals, having the same Christmases and everything. And um, you know, it's hard. It's hard to maintain. For me, I realized that I had to get out of that. That was kind of one of the reasons that I ended up separating or leaving, divorcing from my ex-husband, is because of the lifestyle was not aligning. And I knew that I would, if I really wanted to change my health and I was going to go on this path that I saw for myself, I knew I had to get out of that. Um, Yeah. My kids, though, it's hard. My kids are not necessarily proud of me. I think they think I'm like the hippie mom, like the weird hippie mom, you know. Like my daughter, I know she admires me and she looks up to me, but she's not going to say it. She makes
Of
fun of
course.
me, and like we'll go to a restaurant, or I'll take her somewhere and she's like, "Well, you can't eat anything because you're raw," like that teenage um, attitude,
Attitude, yeah.
So that's kind of funny. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's funny
teenagers.
because I'll go out to eat with my daughter. Yeah, I'll go out to eat with my daughter, and I bring my own food
Yeah.
to the restaurant. So that's interesting for her to see that. Who else does that? None of her friends see their parents bringing their own food to restaurants, or not eating the way normal people eat. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna affect my kids as they grow up.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think once you grow up, so speaking, I'm 25 now, and I was a teenager like recently, you could call it. And um, I remember that growing up, one thing that I did not like about my parents was that they did not encourage any sort of cold drinks. So, no like Pepsi, Coca Cola, nothing in the house. No like sweets, so no like chocolates, nothing in the house. No, not much of potato chips and this and that, which was so normal in my friends and my friends' families. And like my friends,
Hmm.
best friend's dad just showing up to the house with like a Pepsi in his hand. And I was I was seeing this everywhere, and I was so like frustrated with my dad, and I was like, why do you not allow Coca-Cola? What is it gonna do? And he used to explain in his ways, but he also used to be like, you will know. But then I was in that moment, Jamie, I was so frustrated. Like I was like, this guy doesn't get it. And
Wow.
now,
There
fast
was,
forward,
there was,
I love,
yeah.
I'm so grateful that my dad actually did all of that, you know?
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, there was one moment I remember when because like I said, I've gone off and on eating raw many times. And there was this one time when I was eating raw. And this is why I don't really go back home to visit my family often, because I feel like that is the biggest thing for me to want to go back to eating cooked food, because my mom is
Hmm.
making these dishes that are from my childhood, and it's very
Hmm.
tempting. So I don't even like, I'm not even going for Christmas. I haven't been there in years. I talk to my mom every day, but I'm like, I just can't be around it. So, but there was a couple years ago, I was eating raw, and took my kids to Florida to visit family, and I went, and it wasn't even good. It was like a bag of potato chips or something. And I was like, oh my God, I was just around it. We were having a party, and there was all this junk food, and I was like, oh my God, it was stressful, because like being around my family, pulls me right back into that low conscious, of my past self, right?
Yeah.
So, just all the patterns, and the family dramas and everything showing up, and I was very, very stressed. So I went into one of the rooms, and I was sneaking like a chip or something, and my son came in, And he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed.
Hmm.
"What? I was just having like one little chip." And I was like, "Why are you so mad?" And he's like, I don't really understand the whole raw vegan thing. And he's like, I don't really care for it. I don't want to do it. He's like, "But I respected you." And I was blown away. I was like, wow, so the fact that my son said that to me, like he never, that was the first time he ever showed any like ounce of being proud of me,
Hmm.
for what I'm doing. Because I was always like, you know, but the fact that he said that to me really motivated me to realize that I am setting an example for my kids. And I want to do
Absolutely.
better for my kids. I want to be the best version for them.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like energies rub off, and I think that now we are at a stage where like we have gone so backwards as in terms of consciousness as a society that I just feel like, and this is like my driving force right now. My driving force is not to turn people raw vegan or fruitarians. Like, really, that's not what I'm here for. I'm more so, Jamie, just to share this with you, I'm more so approaching from the standpoint of bringing more consciousness on this planet, right? Like more awareness and consciousness, and
Mm,
like, if that happens, I don't have to be here telling people that don't eat meat and eat clean. Like people will know for themselves and they will define their own ways of eating it clean. To give you an example, there are some places in India that I've been to, like sort of like ashrams, you could call it, where people are taught consciousness and are like wanting to raise their level of consciousness. Nobody at all has any desire. There are like tons of raw people there. Like they're totally eating fruits and they don't know that fruitarianism even exists, right? They just eat fruit, they just eat their carrots, they eat like once or twice a day. They know it instinctively because they're conscious. And like people who cook, there are a lot of people who cook
mm,
as well, is like minimal, right? They're not overeating. They're not, there's no gluttony involved. There's no like extended amounts of food and like no drugs, no nothing involved, right? So what I understood is that if human beings are more conscious, they just they just radiate that first, so they inspire and set an example for others, and also they instinctively know what to eat and what not to eat. And I fully believe that the society that we are in right now, each and every household needs at least one individual in the house who is radiating at a higher level of consciousness so that people in the family
mm,
can be inspired, right? So there you go, you're doing it. And even though from the outside, because there are certain impressions that your children might have gone through in that day, that frustration might just come out. But in a few years, Jamie, they would be super proud and they would be talking about you in front of other friends of theirs when they're in college or something, saying that my mom does this and this, and they would actually be proud. I am sure that's going to happen because you are already setting an example. So definitely
mm.
you should be proud of yourself. And
Oh, oh,
yeah.
thank
And so,
you. Thank you for saying that. It's my dream that one day they'll find their way back to health and consciousness. Like really, sometimes I'm with my family members, and I think that's the hardest thing is that I want them so badly to meet me
hmm,
at my level, but you can't force it. I can't force my kids to be at a certain level. I can't, I can hold space and I can be a mirror. I can be a reflection of what needs to be healed inside of them. But yeah, gosh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and so, and then trying not to be pulled down, being because when you're having conversations like this, it brings you up to a higher level. But when you have interactions with people who are
oh
operating
yes, it
out of
drains you.
the beta brain state or a lower consciousness, it's very draining and it's so hard. And that's why when I go home back to my family, pulls me right back in. Um, Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I can hold the consciousness, I can hold the light, and it does bring them up, but it's a lot of work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of work. You can hold the light. You're absolutely right. And this is something that I'm seeing because I was in Mexico just like 3 months ago, 3, 4 months ago, and now I came here to Saudi Arabia to actually live with my parents after a very long time, and I can see how I am working so hard to keep this light on, right? And one thing that I'm very happy with, Jamie, is that I did not preach this too much. I did not force at all, but my parents have started to eat, and even my brother for the most part. He's younger for the most part, but my parents almost all the time dinners is just fruit now, and I'm so happy about that.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
beautiful. Oh, that's
yeah.
really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very happy because if not for this, I know what they used to have, some rice and meat even, like just 1 hour or 30 minutes before they go to bed, they would have that and then they would go to bed. And now they're realizing that they should be eating because they didn't even know. That's the thing, like nobody's talking about it properly, or they're not listening for these kind of things. And like they can see how having fruit and having it like 2 hours before you go to bed is the quality of sleep is night and day between 2 hours before and having fruit for dinner before you go to bed, or having like cooked food with even some meat like an hour before you go to bed. It's day and night, the quality of sleep
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Mm-hmm. And your dreams too.
Yeah,
The quality of your dreams, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then not waking up feeling heavy and tired the next day.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's just incredible. I've also made them realize that like the thing that you just go to bed, you eat and then go to bed, and then your digestion slows down by a lot when you're sleeping, and then you still have a bit of food somewhere in your colon or in your tract, still yet to be digested, or just gone through digestion, and then again we pile up with breakfast and all of that. And I'm seeing that slowly they're becoming more aware, so they're slowly the habits are changing, but I'm having to work so much more harder to keep this light on, is what I was trying to say, is that it does take a toll on you. Jimmy, something I wanted to ask you is the protein myth. I'm sure over the 12 years of you going, dabbling raw vegan and all that, I'm sure the amount of times you've been asked about protein is like 1,000-fold, because somehow people think on just cooked vegan diet, you are going to lose muscle. So imagine on a raw vegan diet, I can just imagine in their minds, we must be disintegrating right now. Like, just like evaporating in thin air with our muscle, but obviously that's not happening. So like how do you answer the protein question to people?
I explain the concept of breatharianism and the fact that to think that we need anything to survive, it's just a belief.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that our body has the ability to create anything that it needs, you know? And like I said, I didn't grow up eating meat. So when people ask me about animal protein or needing protein, I've been living without animal protein my whole life, really. I mean, I did have like some dairy and some eggs, but you know, I was just fine. So, I mean, that to me, that's my proof right there.
Yeah.
That's my proof. Yeah. And then from cooked vegan, um, I don't know. I honestly, there was a point in my journey where I wanted to become a fitness model,
Mm-hmm.
and someone was like, do the keto diet. And I was like, but I've never eaten animals. What am I going to start? What am I eat? They're like, you need to eat meat. You need to eat meat. And I was like, I was always vegetarian, vegan. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, let me try it. So I tried it for like 2 weeks, where I was eating chicken and things like
Oh.
that. And I felt disgusting. I felt
Yeah.
so gross. And I was like, ew, this does not belong in my body.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't. I don't need that. And I work out and I feel like you just need to work out, honestly.
Yeah.
You just need to exercise and work out. You can build muscle. It has nothing to do with eating animals for sure.
Yeah.
And you can get protein from your diet, even on a raw vegan diet. So there was a um, bodybuilding couple, and I think I reached out to them and asked them about, coaching, for to do fitness competitions. And when I told them, because they're vegan, and when I said I was raw, they're like, "Oh no, we don't promote raw veganism. You know, best of luck to you." They wouldn't
Hmm.
even they wouldn't even consider it. Wouldn't even, you know, play around with the idea of like, okay, let's see if we can come up with the perfect diet for you to build muscle, like so, and then you have someone like Ted Carr who's building
Yeah.
muscle on fruit, and there
Yeah.
are breatharians. There's this one guy, he wrote a book called The Breatharian Journey or something like that. His name was
Oh yeah, Genesis
Sunfire something.
Sunfire.
I forget what his name was. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he um, built muscle as a breatharian, and I know another breatharian who doesn't eat anything, and he's solid like a rock. So I honestly, I don't even when somebody asks me that question, I just laugh like it doesn't need it's not even worth my wasting my energy trying to explain something like that because if they have to ask me that question, then they're just not ready.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're not ready, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well said. Well said. Cool. Awesome. I think we'll wrap this up. Jamie, I don't want to take too much of your time, but this was great. This was fabulous. I would be super super down 100%, 200% to again speak with you sometime in the near future and get to know more about your story because you're super like dude, you're radiating a lot of energy and like a lot of positive energy and like you're glowing, so like I'm sure like it's a pleasure to speak with you, I should say. And thank you so much for being
Same to
here.
you. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I really enjoyed this and I truly enjoyed your energy and this beautiful conversation.
Absolutely, thank you so much. And
Namaste.
namaste. And yeah, wishing you all the very best. If people want to find you, where can they?
I think the easiest thing would just be Instagram, ageless beauty 143. And then through there, I have a link in the bio with the meetup, um, events coming up, and all kinds of little goodies in there too. So, and
Yeah.
people can just message me, I'm really good about, connecting with people and when they reach out to me, um, try to get back to people, try to respond to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, cool, awesome. Thank you so much, and hopefully we get to see you again. Thank you.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Guys, I want to go ahead and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got value out of this. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel only if you wish to. However, I would greatly appreciate if you were to going to help me reach out to so many more people with this conscious thought process and a conscious planet overall. And guys, I'll see you in the next one.